Morning, everyone. So now we're on to round three of America Summer Camp. I didn't do a pre-recording because I was a little busy on Monday and my game was Tuesday, so I didn't really have time to record a pre-video. I did think about this a lot, but this will just be a combined video. So my warrior list, and this was my opponents list: 20 dryads, 20 archers, super fighty prince, a druidism master, a BSB thicket shepherd, a dryad ancient with adept and lethal strike, which is nice versus me. Archers, dryads, chaff, beast, huntsman, pathfinders. So a little mix of everything: some shooting, some fighting, some magic. A really good general. It's flags, so and I thought this before the game. It's probably the worst scenario to play him in, and I say worst not as in like, oh god, I can't play flags versus him. More of my army has a like his army is not that bulky. His scoring he has three tough scoring: dryads, archers, thicket beast. Dryads archers being tough in that they shoot and they can sit back, right? And so I guess what I was trying to say is like I think I could control grounds better than he can, like secure target. I think I can control at least one of them, if not both of them. Picking up the markers, I don't see how. Like that seems fine for me in this because you don't. Do you want the archers moving to the middle of the board? I mean, the dryads are the threatening one. The thicket beasts, I can deal with potentially. So the fact that he could like, and with druidism, of course, like sit back and like not have to worry, like threaten, not have to like kind of put his scoring into a position is tough. I mean, of course, in flags, I only have one more unit than him. I do have a tough war unit. My other units are a little smaller, but I also don't have the range damage that he does, and none of his are like one shotable by my magic. So it's an interesting scenario for it because it doesn't force anything to happen. Um, the Lord is a big problem for me. I'd say he's very good versus warriors. He's probably the only, not the only thing. We don't want to say the only thing. He's the biggest issue for me because he's very fast and he's just strong enough to where he wounds like everything on 2+, right? Except for he's strength 7, so elders on 3+, sure. Um, but he hits all elders. I think he's 2+, 3+ versus elders, and he's like 6 attacks with battle focus. So I have low wounds, and their armor's only 3+, so it's like, yeah, he doesn't one shot my lord, but he has the Dragonfire gem, Herald with what's it called? Strength 6 Divine can kill him, but I didn't take that because I had other things I needed to do. So he's just an issue. Probably respected him a little too much in this game, and you'll see after. So I'll just spoil the game, and I ended up losing 5-15. And I'll explain what happened. I have some moments I didn't like what I did, and my opponent, he's a pretty good opponent player. I think he played for ETC Canada. He's one of the Canada's better players. And I think how I put it after the game was, I see, I could think of 5-6+ mistakes that I wish I did slightly things different, but I felt like I did enough to win. That sounds pretty, I don't know, cocky or something, but I felt like I did enough better to win that game. And you'll see the big turning point and things I could have did better in that turning point. And we're actually going to focus on that a little bit, and I'll tell you how things progressed to get there on both sides, and things that went well for me and things that went badly for me, and why I made some decisions I made. And you'll see the little things that I'll say, I wish I did this differently. I wish I did this differently. But then you'll see the moment where like it kind of went to shit, and how I could have done it better to, one, make sure it doesn't, and two, just kind of like how it's like, shit, this happened. Like you don't expect it to happen, and it happened. But his list, he's the same list he's been running for like I think the last 3 events. And I think he changed it for Cinco. I mean, not that I've drastically changed my list every time, but I don't think he's changed anything. And it's always done well for him. So yeah, it's a solid all around list. I debated a long time about what to take on my Herald. Fly is very obvious. Breath Corruption is very good. The inherent breath weapon is very good. And just being able to fly around as needed is great. I ended up going Veilwalker because I needed the extra range is really nice versus like Huntsman and stuff, so you're not, getting with, 24-inch range on your Hellfire is nice. And just having two big damage spells plus the breath weapon to try to delete some of these units early on, because like the threatening ones are like what the Huntsman and stuff like that. So here's the board. We did play marching columns, so deployment was going back and forth until he finally dropped all. I'm gonna recreate it roughly. It's not gonna be. No, I don't want to say. I want to actually load it. Right, I'm gonna recreate it roughly, and then just I'll go through turn by turn. I actually put his models out now, so I have a better idea of what happened. And so you guys can see instead of like last time where I just drew on the damn thing. And I'll tell you what I liked and didn't like about my deployment. It was, like I said, this isn't perfect, but this is roughly what happened. Here. This was here. And I started from the left side. He started from the right side. His first drop was... And his army isn't to scale. It's not perfect. I think he had more archers than this. He's like 23. But and he has his characters were... Mage was in here. Dryad was in here. The BSB would be in here. So just keep note of that. I think these guys actually went down first. I think it was like this. These went here. These went here. This went here. These are sentinels. Went here. They might have been on the right side. I don't know. And then like these scouted here. It was something like this. It was something like this. This might have been over more. This was probably here. I think this was like this back here. Did he put that third? Anyway, so I only had these three down when he put everything down. And, I'm thinking maybe... Oh, nope. Didn't want that. And this was somewhere in here. It was going to walk and shoot some stuff, whatever, right? I want this. So... I don't know what exactly, I think this side was, I had the hill here. His Dryad unit was here, which was a big fighting threat and wasn't going to be over here. His Lord was in the middle, so kind of at the side. He had three key fighting pieces to the left. Obviously, these two are fast, so could get over here. But, I feel pretty confident, like, these aren't that good versus me, especially with my Lord. And I think maybe I could have popped 15 to go out and just stand in front of them. And, like, none of this can fight my Lord. Only he can. These two units can fight my Lord easily, and maybe these, if I'm not in the unit, you'll see why I say not in a unit in a little bit. I think in hindsight, given that these do not have a musician, and so can only go like 10 inches like this way, like to get to the side isn't that easy, I think my main block should have actually been like here. And just maybe put these guys behind them and say, all right, they're not that useful. And just go like even farther to the right, because then this guy takes a little longer to get there, and maybe he doesn't, maybe he gets there real quick, but then maybe my center fielder is my herald instead of my Lord, because this unit's so slow it doesn't do, like, he wasn't gonna push this right with the archers, and I was kind of like sitting here and then like being threatened by the elk guy, and I wanted to jump out, but I didn't really, I knew where they were. I should have just lined up across from him and said, okay. He backed him up turn one, so it didn't really matter. He kind of like went backwards. But yeah, I might have wanted to go to the right more. What else? I didn't like the flares. I just kept them in the runes. I think, and this is my bad, not respecting enough the shooting potential. Obviously, if these were like fucking high elf crossbows, or no, that's not a thing. Empire crossbows, they need like 8s or 7s to hit them and to do nothing. But the Pathfinders hit on like 2s with the +2s. These guys just need 6s to poison. These guys need, like, they got a spell to get rerolls. So he ended up killing this unit in the first round of shooting. He used every unit he had, so it's except for these guys. It's not like the end of the world, but they probably should have been back here just to be safe and use them for chaff later. That was a pretty stupid for me. Like if he shoots the warriors, it's whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean that's the price I paid for doing that. So first turn, I don't even know what he did. It was something like this. This guy joined here. This went between the gap. This came up on the hill. Um, archers like something like this. This actually backed up. This went to like here. And this went to like here. Something like this. It's not to scale, so don't like if you see an arc and you're like, why didn't you charge that? Well, it's probably because it wasn't like that. All right. So, it was like, yeah, this looks right. So these were farther up because they were on the hill for purposes of reroll. So it was something like this, and I couldn't charge here, so it was probably back, and I was actually probably here. Right, it was something like this, whatever. So I think he got rerolled to hit off on his archers. They were probably back here actually, but he wasn't in range for stone skin on these guys, which was his mistake, and so he stone skinned these guys and he took these off the board. Great. So that's how the first turn went. Something like that. My first turn was I didn't charge these guys. I put this here. They were actually farther up, right? I had like right along the hill line. That was right. It was like this. What I did was I said, all right, I'm within 18 of these guys, so he has to do something about that, and I can see them. He can't charge me with this. I put this here so I could get, like I said, it's not perfect, but I could get around. I tried to make it so that he couldn't come between the gap, so like he had limited, because I ended up doing something like this. Maybe they could get past. These were tilted a little more. They were within 12. Right? They might not. Yeah, because he was here. He was sitting behind here. The mage was, I want to say, back here. Right here. This was back here. And the warriors were like here. These turned like this and went kind of like here somewhere. Again, not exact. I don't remember exactly. These might have been over more. I know this guy got out of his line of sight on the hill, so it's like here. And then these kind of just fiddled around here. So the idea being, I almost made it. It was very close to whether he could fit this gap. This guy must have been up farther. It must have been something like this instead. It was something like this, right? And so the idea being, his fast cav only have so much room to get around. The elder can kind of get space while being up the board, right? Because he can't charge me, because if he flanked me, he doesn't have room for these guys to come in. I think he had room to hit my herald if he wanted. I just didn't care if he charged my herald. Because I have like breath weapon stuff. So he binding scrolled my breath weapon, which I guess he realized I couldn't Veil Walker it anyway, so it's not the best one to do. These were, yeah. So something like this, and I ended up, I think I cast a Hellfire, and then I deleted this unit with Grave Calls. So this died turn 1. Very good Magic Phase turn 1 for me, I'll say, because that died. All right, and two of these dogs died. So this is where we're at. Turn 2, he didn't charge anything. And again, I'm just trying to pick out the important details here. These like move up, or I think, no, they're still there. These like back up to here. These go here. They're out of my range of my Feldrax, I know that. The archers, what do they end up shooting? They turn, and back up so that my Elder can't charge. My Elder needed like a 12 to charge him, and I didn't. I think these reposition here to shoot some stuff. And they might even have gone back. I think these run to here. And he stays in here. And it might even been, I think they might even been back here. Yeah, they were, because they ended up being like this or something. Because his lord was pretty far from my lord when it happened. And these are like putzing around a little. They're like fucking here or something. Oh no, they turned to actually face me. That's right, they're like this. Something like this, but they're like up here. Alright, so we're like this, turn 2. He shoots off my dog. A little unfortunate, 7 shots, kill 6 dogs, but it's 2s and 3s, so it can definitely happen. But just a little like, oh, come on. And he puts like 2 wounds on my big boy. Right? Whatever. What can I do? So this is roughly our turn 2. What do I do in my turn? I kind of move up here because there's no threat. I put this... Oh, did I charge anything? Yeah. I charge these guys with my Forsworn just to kind of get them to flee. You know, you never know. You never know what can happen. They ran back here. These guys failed like 3 inches. It didn't matter. It was like fucking... They were like standing here. They were in threatening range. This Elder ran here. I actually think these guys were farther up. These guys were like here, I think. I know I could run like behind them, I think. Yeah, where were these guys? They must have been... Yeah, they were in front of me. They were like there. So I ran through this unit like here. Yeah, because even I failed the redirect even if I wanted it. I'm pretty sure they were farther up. But again, sorry, not everything is perfect. I don't remember every still scale. These... What did I do here? I kind of like... These must have been farther up here. Yeah, these were up like here. Because what ended up happening was, I knew I could get... This is where... I don't want to call it... I don't want to call this a mistake. It's what I did afterwards that's a little mistake. So we'll talk about what I was thinking here. You know, this is just kind of position. Everything's just jockeying down here. I didn't want the Dryads to see me. I wanted him to get some threatening stuff. The Warriors were coming up. You know, the Dryads can only move so fast, and I wanted my Warriors in the game somehow. This chariot came on the hill. I think these guys couldn't charge them. They must have been back then. There's no way they were there, right? They must have been like here. And he must have just walked. Yeah, he just walked in front of me. That's right. He just walked up. Okay, so something like this. They were far enough away that he couldn't charge my shit. I know that. It was like this. These couldn't see anything but my Lord's unit. My chariot was here. I believe this was like a 12 for him to charge my chariot. And I put my Demon Prince. The Warriors like wheeled a little, or like here, and then my like this or something, and then this was here. Right? I did something like this. And so my plan was, in my head, right, to magic these guys, try to get them out of there. These guys had to frenzy check onto my Lord's unit, and there was nothing else they could charge. So if they fail the 9 frenzy without BSB, they have to charge my Lord unit, thinking, all right, I'll kill them. And this guy needed like a 12 to get here. He could have if he wanted. No. Charge here. And I'll be like, all right, I'll hopefully be steadfast, and I'll kill them. Free unit. I'm pretty safe chilling here. Maybe put the Warriors behind here if I have some left. I probably didn't do the math. I didn't do the math, I'll tell you that. So what I did was I magicked here. I think I failed the Hellfire, got the breath off, he stopped the other spell. I should have, 1, tried to breath my Lord, because my Lord is in range of these guys, and that would have been nice to breathe on these guys. And just used my normal breath here, and then try to put armor on my Warriors. Yeah, so what ends up happening is these have to charge, right? The Lord doesn't charge, these have to charge. And I killed like 3 Way Watchers, whatever, right? And so he charges here, and I have no buffs. I have no breath. I don't have anything like that, right? He keeps these like here. This guy. These actually failed the rally on a rerollable 8, so they're gone. This. This moved up. So to remember this, I wanted this. I wanted this, and I'm gonna regret it. This like like these went like here. This guy went here. This went like here. It was actually closer than that. It went like this, and this guy essentially blocked the flank charge of my elder. My elder must have been up here. It just whatever the point was, I couldn't get to this unit with my elder because I couldn't move straight and I couldn't wheel to get around it. Right, so that was blocked, which was good. Good move. Yeah, sure. Right, and this kind of I have no idea what it did. It might have walked up here or something like that. It did something, right? It was kind of chilling here. And so he got off reroll. I binding scrolled Stone Skin, which was a mistake, and he got off. What's the number one on? Sorry, what's the number one on Div? He got that spell off. That doesn't matter because he doesn't hit any better. He goes first anyway, or at least Simon with my lord, and it matters for another instance. But I let that go because it didn't change the math on what he hit me on. It just means I hit him a little worse. That's why I shouldn't have been binding Stone Skin, because one, if he's toughness 6, it sucks, but it doesn't stop me from being steadfast. He got the hereditary off, and I stopped the reroll to hit with dice. I should have binding rolled the reroll to hit and stopped the hereditary at dice and made him roll the Stone Skin and just accepted that it could happen. That being said, I didn't pre-buff. He got some buffs off. He shot. I don't know if he did anything of significant value here. I don't remember what he shot with this. I think he tried to shoot him and failed. Oh, no, he shot my Demon Prince, did a wound to it. He did a wound to my Demon Prince, that's right. He shot everything at him. Great. He actually deleted this unit. So he killed every warrior. It's around a 10% chance, so it can definitely have... It was a higher chance than I expected. It's like 10 to 15% chance to kill it. I don't have the exact... To kill 14, sorry. He killed every single one. He needed to kill 14 to break my steadfast. And killing 14 is like a 15% chance. And he did it. And I broke my lord, and he overran to the Demon Prince, and I killed like 3. So that was mistake number 1, because I gave him... Like, I wanted that charge. So to me, that's like... Oh, I wanted this, and I just... The math is in my favor, I'll say that. But in hindsight, I still... He kills so many that I don't think it's worth it for me. You know what I mean? Like, even if he goes in and kills 10, I only have 6 left versus the shooting. And what am I going to do afterwards? And maybe I would be fine in this case. Honestly, versus this list, this guy's the most threatening piece. I should have just ran my lord out on his own. Because his lord was like here. I'm pretty sure I could have moved my lord out, like, to here, where his lord couldn't see me, and who cares? I'm out in the open. This is the only that can fight me. None of these units beat my... Well, this could beat my lord, but none of these units beat my lord by themselves. Like, this certainly doesn't. So if I'm just chilling out here, like, he has to deal with me. If he keeps blocking me with the lord, I just walk around him, and it allows my other units to do something. So this is where I put myself on the back foot for no fucking reason. And I should have buffed my unit. Just +1 armor would have helped a lot. Putting breath weapon, like if my 2 spells were breath weapon, my lord, and +1 or 2 armor of the unit, and I get 1 off, I think I win that fight. Like it becomes like a 5% chance. If I get the breath weapon off on my lord, it's done because he's only gonna have like 2 or 3 models less when he gets in. Because I'll shoot him in the magic phase, and maybe he doesn't fail he failed the frenzy, so he had to come in. But that's one where I thought I was being super clever, and I didn't think the math was that high, to be completely fair. So that was a mistake. But what he did is what he did wrong is his druid was like sitting here in the gap. This chariot only needed a 9 rerollable to get to this. So in my turn, I made an 11 to hit these guys in the rear, the Way Watchers. Which wasn't, it was nice that I made it, but it didn't matter that much. I'm chilling here. If I fail, nothing's going to charge me. If I make it, I kill this unit, great. And he overran into the Demon Prince. This is where the +2 initiative did matter, because he gets to go first. If he didn't have that, I would go first and win it easily, but I'll be fine. This chariot gets into this barge, and one nice thing is he has no counter charges. Nothing, maybe these guys if he wanted. But he made it so nothing could see this charge. So I get in for free, and nothing can help him right away. This ran like back here. This ran like back here. And this ran like here or something. I think it was either far charge or he couldn't do it or something with this unit. It might have actually been turned like this, I would say. Yeah, it was like that. And this kind of ran up. This... I think this had walked up in his turn. It was like this. Yeah, he walked it up. And so, like, I moved up. And so this was the end of my turn 3-ish, right? So I kill his druid with my chariot. Great. Then he reforms into a block. We are just doing it, guys. Right? Oh, that is not. That is nowhere near what unit I need. Close enough. He has no champion. So his mage is dead. One of his mages, right? Great. Something like this. He does a wound to me because I put +2 armor on myself, and I get my breath weapon off. So these die. These die. These take like a wound from dangerous. And so we're like here, right? And these probably are down here more. So this is the end of my turn 3. So pretty good, actually. I'm pretty happy. I probably could have moved these things a little better around the flanks. These might have actually been closer. Who knows? And so going into my... I lost a unit for free that was my dumbass fault. But I'm feeling pretty good about this position. Killed his mage. I have one of his scoring locked up. I did lose one of my scoring, so I'm on the back foot now, obviously, because of flags. But I still have time. So in his turn 3, I think he, like, turns like this. So that this guy's in the front. I think they might have been a bit closer to me. It might have been like that. These guys kind of stand in front to block the archer unit. And again, not to scale. I don't remember everything. This guy... I think this guy was closer down here. And this guy, like, stands, like, here. He basically, like, blocks my elder and wants to see this. This reforms like this. You know what? This actually had run away on my turn 3. It ran away because I didn't want these guys to get me. And now he turns like this. He chose not to chase after these guys. Magic, I think he gets rerolls to hit off on here, and he gets, like, +2 initiative here. Shooting, these 7 guys put 3 wounds on my elder, which is actually significant and pretty... Yeah, it can happen. I actually don't know the math on that one. I hold with my chariot, and... Yeah, these are not facing like that. This is like this. It matters, and that's why. And this is probably an inch away and facing like that or something. It was something like this. And I had 2 wounds on this elder. So this is kind of where I'm sitting at turn 3, and these had reformed to be like this after they beat that unit. So it was something like this, right? So what am I thinking? I'm thinking, all right, these are annoying. They're probably here, actually. I don't want to charge the front of the dryads with the character. And yep, I don't want to charge this guy because he like 1-rounds me. Yeah, so I ended up turning this back around, thinking maybe there's a chance I can hold this unit down maybe later if I need to. I think I tried to charge the rear of the dryads and I failed, and that was all my charges. I didn't actually charge a lot despite being in this position. I wanted to have another turn to try to reposition. So I got out of line of sight here. I kind of backed up and then I put these guys like in the middle of the board to kind of threaten a lot of things. It was something like this, and then he like flew like here. I do know these guys had like an 11 charge on me, and I just accepted it. And then he blocked this. And so one thinking was he must have been back here. He must have been back here because he could not something like this, but this looks closer to what it was. So the big thing to take note here is these guys can see my chariot, but when I reform to the flank, which I'll eventually do, he can't. So he has another turn where he can't help his archers against my chariot. This guy's blocked, and these guys are blocked. All right, so we end like this. I magic this. I think they panicked on like a leadership 8, minimize, and they die. But I put all my magic at them. If them dying isn't crazy, right? And so, and them dying actually is significant because it allowed this potential charge, which wasn't that close. It was farther than that. It was more like this, and these are right behind. So, the chariot keeps killing some archers. I don't know how many die, and then I reform like this so that he can't help with anything. I think I reformed like this or something, and this lord couldn't come in. So, this is my turn. His turn. 5, 4, 4. It's his 4. 4 there. Maybe it is his 5 at this point, right? How many times have I cast? Demon Prince. 1, 2, 3, 4. His 5. His 5, he tried to charge my Herald and failed. This tried to charge here. It needed an 8 and it failed. Like this, he will kill this. So this is where his turn ended and his magic did nothing. Remember, his Ancient is there. And so this is going into my turn 5. And I'm thinking, oh, and this reformed. I think it reformed like this. It reformed to where my Herald couldn't fit because I couldn't clip this side, and this guy, I guess, was here. Like an inch away. It was like this or something. It was like, that's how it like ended. So this died, obviously. And I think this might have been facing this way. It was like that. It was something like this. Exactly. All I know is my Herald wouldn't fit here. So this, yeah, it was like this. Yeah, that's close enough to where I forget exactly, but I know my Herald couldn't fit. I actually might, yeah. My Herald couldn't fit. We get it. We get it. It was something like this, right? So this is where it gets, and there was a big woods here, actually. His free woods was sitting here. It doesn't matter. I took a wound on it, I think, when I charged something. Whatever, right? So what I did here was I charge here in the rear, and there's only 17 Dryads plus the character, so this is actually how it was. These charged. I lost one to terrain. It had some wounds from before, so it was 2 left. I put them like this. So this was a debate too. So, and I'll talk about this. And I put him touching 2, 1 being the character. He has 3 wounds left. So it was like this. I did not put my Herald in. He could have saw it. He was closer. He could see it. My Herald ended up flying like here to like magic things, right? And to threaten the archers because I need them for the scenario. And I think these guys are just dicking around here, right? So this is my position turn 5, magic. I am within 18 inches of this guy. I must have gone here then. I must have gone here, yeah. And this guy's just within 18 inches. Now I could have hit here, but I was at risk of if I kill 6 with my warriors, I would lose an attack or a stomp or something. But I would be an inch farther from this guy, which ended up mattering. Yeah, he had 4, he lost 4, 16, 7. He only had 17 models for what it's worth. And I was like, oh shit, my warriors go first. If they kill 5, I lose a whole Feldrake attack. Maybe not good. Maybe I should have did the math there. So what I ended up doing, what I wanted to do for magic, and I think these warriors, this is not that many archers anymore. It's like this many, maybe? Maybe even less. It might have only been like, it was probably this. It's probably this. It's like that. So, in my magic phase, I try to breath weapon him, and it fails. And then I try to grave calls him, and he stops it. I think it was a 1 phase. I 5 dice it. He has MR2, and he stops it with his 4 dice. It's not that crazy. We rolled it. It wouldn't have done anything anyway. I'll finish what happens, and then we'll talk about what I would have done different. And again, not perfectly a scale. My goal is I wanted to get, and I had nothing to Hellfire, did I? Nope, I had nothing I could have helped him, but he has MR. We'll talk about that after. So this is the game state. No buffs on anybody. We're just chilling here. I do this combat first, I do 2 wounds. He wins by 1 because he has flank, big flank, and he has a banner. And I fail my rerollable 7. So I run like here, and this goes like here, right? I should just delete these. Again, not perfectly to scale, but whatever. Here, he has 5 attacks with lethal strike, and his character gets hatred, and strength 4, and he fucking kills my elder. And then he does like 4 wounds to warriors. I do 4 or 5 wounds. Yeah, I only did 5 wounds, and between my fell drakes and that. So now he loses he's on a 1x 9, but I didn't break his fucking steadfast. Where if I did, if the elder, this is a 1% chance he dies. And even if he dies, losing this many models otherwise is still really low too, and not killing enough to freaking break his steadfast. So I don't break his steadfast. He makes the 9 leadership and sticks, and then this guy makes the 10. It was a 10. This guy makes the 10, kills this. This lives. Blah blah blah. That's how it ends. This gets charged by the treekin, fails to rally, dies to the terrain. So I lose that. That's a battle point too for that guy. That's 2 battle points because he didn't rally. The warriors end up getting away and rallying, giving up silver points, but I give up the scenario, and I blow up this unit with magic at the end of the game. So I lose 15-5 because this fight. Because if this fight goes my way, I actually need one of 3 things to happen. Let me see if I can back up enough. And this is why it's kind of those... I'm complaining, and there's little things. You saw tons of little things, and I'll tell you more little things I could have did to be better. One, the series of events that had to happen was he had to break on his rerollable 7. It's not even guaranteed rerollable 7. He has 4 strength 5 and 2 strength 4 to do 3 wounds to just win or to tie the combat. So that sucked. If he doesn't break, he blocks the Lord because this guy was behind him. So he couldn't have charged me anyway. So this didn't matter if this goes first. If this breaks and this wins, even if the if the elder lives, this fight's over because I get 6 and a d6 stomps to do the 2 wounds I need to win combat by like 4 or something. It means even if he did 2 wounds, he does 2 wounds, 2, 4, 1, 7. I have flank. I mean, this guy was 2 res just to start plus the 2 wounds. I'm auto breaking this unit and I'm going this way to where this guy can't get to me anyway, right? Or I just flee if I really want to. So this is a lot of points saved that he'll never get because these aren't dying. And then threatening here. Now maybe what I think I should have did in hindsight is I really wanted to land and kill him. I think my Demon Prince should have went here and helped. And what maybe I could have happened is something like this series of events. I go here to help and try to guarantee that I break them. If I break them, and magic. Okay, so let's do second part magic. Doing anything with him was not worth it. If I one-shot him, sure, great. But that doesn't win me the game to one-shot him. I mean, it wins me the game in retrospect. But it really doesn't. I killed his general already. He's 600 points. Guarantee the scenario, guarantee the points. I did not think this had any chance. He had no buffs of any chance of him not breaking. And I mean, it had to be all 3 things that had to happen. He had to not break, this had to break, and he had to make the 10-inch charge for this to go as bad as it did. Otherwise, it's probably like a 10 plus to me because I probably can whittle this down. Even if this died, I can probably beat this in the second round because it doesn't have that many attacks. I digress, though. We don't know what would have happened. If this guy held, what does he do? He has to save, right? He has to save it. But when he saves it, I don't think he can do anything to block my Herald from charging them and getting the scenario that way. So that was an option. I should have went like this probably. And you'll understand how big getting the Hellfire, the Grave Calls was, because it wasn't about killing him necessarily, but I did really need the buff here. I wanted to breath him, so I failed the breath, which means that I have trouble winning the combat. But I also didn't get either spell off, which means that I don't get the Guiding Light here. Because if this is a rerollable 3 dice strength Guiding Light, it's like 1% to break, right? So I really need a spell off. Could I have thrown Glory of Gold over here? I could have. Um, armor really doesn't do anything because he has lethal strikes. So maybe armor on these guys would have been useful just because they are strength 4 and the wounds on 4. But he wounds this guy on 6s, so I couldn't have saved him anyway with the rolls that he did. Um, if I do this, I probably guarantee breaking a steadfast because I still have my breath weapon on my herald, which means I would just roll it. And if I get any metal spell off, I could get reroll a wound. So this, I would just demolish this fight if I put him in. And I guess if I did that, right, I should have done this combat. So what I should have done, and this is hindsight, and obviously like the play I made was a high percentage play. It should work. But I could have made it higher percentage. So this is the tough part. Obviously, when you lose a game like this, you get upset and you want to blame just this, right? Just this guy dying is, like I said, 1% chance to die. And him dying just gave me, besides everything else, probably cost me a 15-point win. But you have to think of it as what mistakes did you make? I made a lot of mistakes. I should have buffed the Warriors. I shouldn't have been in this position. I should have been way ahead. I should have done. I don't even know if I should have put my Herald back here when I did that. Here, I should have put my Herald in, and I should have hit this side like this. Who cares if I lose? I'll lose some Feldrake's attacks, but it doesn't matter. At that point, if I'm losing attacks on my Feldrakes, I'm probably busting this unit anyway at this point, right? So I should have gone like this. And what I could have did here was try to cast either the breath weapon on him on like 3 dice, and it failed. So I don't know who knows what would have happened, right? The spell failed. So it's hard to be like, maybe I don't get any spells off. And this still breaks, I guess. That's hindsight, but no, I should have still went for like breath weapon here and then maybe armor on these guys just to try to get because when I failed the breath, I got 2 dice back. So I probably would have did +1 armor here to try to get the attribute here. And then I could have did a 3 dice Hellfire into combat, the D3, just to kill some models, but also get the hereditary or the guiding light here. Because I needed the guiding light here to keep this guy hold. So let's just for shits, I get the guiding light. This is not the guiding light, but I get the guiding light on him, right? So he holds. And this now, we'll say it auto breaks because of all of this. And we'll fuck it, he kills this, whatever. He gets lucky and he kills it. So now I pursue it up, right? And so I hope that I kill it with the 2 units that go at it. I probably don't put my Herald at it, though maybe I do because it's so good if I get it, right? And I think I do this combat first, so if this breaks, I can see. No, I should do this first. I need to know if this breaks. No, I don't. I need to know what happens here first in this case, right? And maybe, who knows? Maybe this actually does. Well, I'd have to flee, and then I would just rally next turn. Because actually, yeah, if you're fleeing, you don't count for scoring. You still count for flags. So like, if he charges me here and I flee here, as long as I don't go off the board, I'm still counting for flags, even the points. The hope is that I kill this damn unit with the 2 overruns, and maybe I have to put and maybe for safety, I just go with everything, and I say, okay, this holds. He walks in. He kills it. He's stuck here. I try to magic it to death, right? The other play would be if the Elder lives, I probably hold with my Herald and say, all right, I'm going to be here. He's going to help here. These did something, whatever. They ended up charging my chariot, but they'd probably block this unit. So we'll say these 2 units are out of the game. He charges here, he kills me, and now if I charge here, I guess he can flee and then hope he gets away from me and hope my magic doesn't kill him. So if it went like that, I would keep all my scoring. So we would have tied scenario in that particular case if I put the Herald in. The Herald here was for the opportunity to win the game more, because if I would have had a better shot to kill this unit with the Herald had this fight gone right. Because the idea being, yeah, because I would have been like sitting here. So if he goes in and helps and kills it, then this can charge, and if he flees, he's through the building. So the idea was to try to get both scoring. This would have guaranteed I tie the scenario probably. But I mean, you gotta. I think my magic. I didn't like how I cast some of my buffs. I should have pre-buffed the warriors. I should have pre-buffed something here probably. I should have tried to get this on. I relied on the rerollable 7 too much. I mean, I tried. I cast 2 spells to my herald, but I mean, maybe I should have 4 dice the breath. I don't want to die. 3 dicing the breath is fine. The problem is like I don't know what my follow up to 3 dicing the breath was. The glory of gold. If he tries to stop the breath, on himself maybe, or on these guys to try to do more wounds. Probably would have been better to buff over here in case this guy dies. But yeah, that was the game. I mean, that's how it ended. This died. This rallied. I lost 15-5 because I lost the scenario because I did not kill this, and I lost the Feldrake. So that was a huge swing because if they died and these lived, we tie the scenario, worst case. Oh, I actually ended up killing this with magic. So if this would have went right and this would have went right, I would have won like 15-5, I think. But yeah, that's how it went. Again, he played solid. I mean, he made some. I didn't like. He gave me the cherry charge, a 9 rollable off the hill with nothing to help him. And that was just, that broke open the, I mean, that's after my warriors died too. So I would say key turning points was not buffing the warriors and then having them die, which is still likely to happen and too likely to happen after doing the math for me to want to take that charge again. So that was a huge mistake on my part, I think. This was a big mistake on his part, I thought. I mean, I could probably see little things if I saw the game replayed again, and I definitely thought of things, but I mean, you can make your own judgment. I felt like I did enough to win. That's what I say to it. That's why this one stung the most. Because I didn't feel like... I've lost games like Thomas and stuff where I feel like, okay, he did something crazy and just fucked me up. And the charge that fucked me here, I wanted to happen because I thought it was better, and then he just fought his way out over here, which just was unfortunate for me. Yeah, I mean, obviously he didn't make any, like, this is the worst mistake ever to let me blow through him. But, and, you know, he had moments where he, like, when after I killed the Pathfinders, he had a chance to put the Dryads into the Chariot. Who knows what would have helped. At this point, it might have been better for me, right? I do think, you know, we'll stem it back to where this warrior unit died because it gave up the flags. That was, I mean, the points are mattering, and obviously my Lord being dead is a huge deal. But I just gave up flags early in a match where he has 3 very solid flag units. So even, like, getting 2 of these units is very difficult. Getting 1 unit's bad enough. So when I give up a unit for flags, because these 3 weren't really threatened. So it was shocking that the one that died was the one with my Port Lord in it. So in the scenario purposes, I just gave up the flags too easy, and then I was on the back foot just to get it back. And I almost did. I still think it's a good matchup for me. You know, I do think it's a positive matchup, and if I take it again, I would do little things better, and I would probably deploy a little. And he would probably do things better too. But I still think I have the advantage in the magic and just being a lot fightier. If it's any other scenario, I'll probably have even more advantage just because my scoring is solid and fightier. And if it's like hold the ground, right? With my Poor Lord, and if he has to put the Treekin on the hold the ground, it's just gonna kill him probably. He should have been out of the unit. I think he should have been a little more dynamic, running around. He can hold this guy up his knee. I mean, this guy's such a fucking problem for my list, but maybe if I'm given the opportunity to like just hold him, right? Because even these, actually, weirdly enough, I mean, they're scoring, so I can't sacrifice them. That's the thing, too. These guys are nice at holding a lot of his army up, except maybe the Dryads. And the Wild Riders will blow through them, actually. But, I don't know, they just have some uses where... Because they can hold him up for a turn. Because they get 5 up saves, and they have 9 wounds, and they turn to spawns. Oh, they get a free reform afterwards. Maybe that's not good. I don't know. It's hard to say little things because I didn't go that direction, right? I don't know what would have happened if I brought my Poor Lord out of the unit because I didn't do it. But, you know, learn some stuff, you know, some mathy things about Wild Riders and the risks, they do obviously they do a lot of wounds. We all knew they did a lot of wounds, but I think sometimes until you see it and be like, oh, I should. It looked so easy to hold steadfast. It looked like there's no problem. It's like 0% chance. And then I did the math myself, and I was like, oh, this is worse than I thought. And so that was a huge mistake by my part. I just find it funny because it's like I wanted it to happen. Whenever you want a charge to happen and it's not good for you, and it goes, well, it could be good for me. That wasn't as bad as like I've seen people put things in front of other things thinking it's okay and it's not even close, and then you just win the game because they had no idea it was going to be bad. I literally did not think I would break. And then I had a nice moment here, didn't fail. But, like I said, he had moments like where the Dryads were charging here that he failed. I mean, he had an 11 on I took a risk and gave him an 11 on my Herald, and he failed it on 2 dice, whatever. I think the Herald could have been positioned a little better. Like these Feldrax when they went to the middle, I think I should have, I'll say I rushed it a little bit. But not like an excuse-wise, but like I shouldn't have. I should have taken time. I need to see that when I did the flank move, or this had already happened, I guess. No, it hadn't happened yet. I need to make sure that when I turned my flank, that when he did this, again, this was flatter, I guess. This unit was flatter. It was more like this. I need to make sure that when he did this, that something could come help. Because this couldn't help. I guess even the way that I blocked his Lord, I could have done it better, maybe. Potentially. I don't even know. Or I should have just let the fucking chariot die. That was the other option. That was probably the weirder option, too. So I came here. No, that's the thing. Because if I did this, I would have had to readjust my entire plan, right? Because if I did this, and I say, I know this wasn't here. It's hard to do, right? But maybe this was the play, right? So this couldn't see me anymore. Pretty sure this couldn't help. But I came here. I don't know what this charge distance was. But maybe the play had to do something with like instead of blocking him and walking up, right? This could not see me. It was like this, right? Maybe instead of walking up here like this position here, the Dryads were still here, whatever happens. Maybe it involves something more like this. Walking this, right behind this unit, right? Like this. To where he can't get out. He can't block it anymore. And just saying, fuck it. Kill my chariot guy. And I probably should be here. Nope, I should be over here. Nope, I should be here. 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 And just being like, fuck it. Kill my chariot guy. Well, first off, he could risk charging my Herald. And I had 2 wounds on me, so he probably killed me. I could have made it pretty far, though. Yeah, I could have probably been pretty far away from him. But just go here. He could take a long charge at my Herald and maybe, fuck it, just say that's okay. I don't know. But if he charges here, I guess the Dryads were always going to be a potential. There was actually reasons not to kill the Pathfinders because the Dryads could see my chariot and save it without it. But if it was like this, it wouldn't matter that much. I could recharge he could flee. I don't know. There was maybe something to look at here where I just give up the chariot and say, fuck it. He breaks the archers. The chariot doesn't break the archer. The chariot holds the archer. So if I gave up this guy who's the same points as this guy, and I can do all my magic with just this guy if needed, and just say, fuck it. Go kill my chariot. You'd probably kill it. No, you could break it. If you break it, it's annoying a little bit. I have to think about the situation here. Kill the chariot, and then they can't overrun. What is he going to do? Turn here, and then I charge here. And then if they flee, I go here. If they don't, I kill them here. Maybe that was the play. To try to guarantee this unit. That was probably a consideration too. Obviously, the Warriors cascaded a lot too because they held my Herald for a turn. Sure, I took 1 wound and killed the unit, but I couldn't pressure. Imagine, because imagine the game, and I don't like to do this, but imagine the game if my warriors hold, right? I still get this charge with my. If the warriors hold, you have to assume they win the next round. Even if he kills the warriors, the Portent Lord's still there, right? The Herald's sitting here. The Herald has a chance to walk up, to here a turn earlier, and then maybe turn 4 like land like this or something. You know what I mean? Like, because he was a turn delayed because he was stuck in combat on my turn. So that hurt a lot that my Herald was delayed. But yeah, that's the game. Little things, a lot of little things, a lot of big, even some big things with deployment and stuff that could have just gone better. Could have done better. Sorry, that's a better way to put it. Not gone better. But, he played solid list. I had some good moments early, blowing off a Wildraw unit, sure. That was my best Magic phase by far. I killed 3 of these guys the next Magic phase. I had to save myself in combat, which sucked for me. I didn't get anything off that turn. And last turn I blew up the archers, so that was good. But it was more of a consolation prize of just getting a 500-point unit. And that's after this failed the rally, which sucked, actually. It not only failed the rally, but it didn't run off the board, so that would have been half points, but it died. It had 3 wounds left, and it took 3 wounds from the runes. I was like, yep, that sounds about right. Though, to be fair, if I took 2 wounds, he would get full points anyway, so it's not actually that crazy to get full points. It was more that failing the check caused me 2 battle points because it was so close in the end. Like, if this... I had 2 leadership 8s last turn. If I killed the archers, that was lucky for me. And that's the kind of thing you have to do with some luck, or some dice. I don't like to say luck. Some dice rolls is like, sure, failing this sucked, but it was kind of nice that I blew this up with a magic spell and a breath weapon. Not unlikely, but it's still like a good thing. You have to kind of take like, oh, it was lucky that this had just enough wounds left in this rallied, even though this is less points. Or that they got away from the Dryads pursuing, so that was points there. Key points, obviously we've said what they were. Unfortunate, but it happens when you play this style. Probably could have made it less risky. I mean, you can't do anything. You take this charge every day. You take he had 5 attacks to do 3 wounds to an elder. If he doesn't do it, he loses. What can you do? Right? Nice guy. We'll see. I can still win the tournament. I just got to crush some people going forward. Hope this was informative. Sorry I didn't take pictures. Who knows? I think Caps might be giving me a program to help, but I did actually map out pretty well what happened. So we just didn't look at very specific line of sights because that I couldn't get right. But hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.